What is going on, guys, and welcome to Wednesday, September 6th, 2017. I am your host, Jack Duffy, and welcome to the Jack Duffy Show. We are going to be discussing a lot of Joker today. If you guys don't know who the Joker is, well, get the fuck out, because I don't understand. Well, LeBrock, if you've been living under that, you don't know who the Joker is from Batman. I mean, come on. Heath Ledger made it really, really famous. He's on your screen right now, and we're going to have two topics today about the Joker. One being Leonardo DiCaprio to be the next Joker, question mark, and then also the second one, obviously tying into that same question, Jared Leto out as the Joker. So let's hop right into this. First things first, how am I feeling today? Well, I'm recording this on the same day as yesterday's video. If you did not check out yesterday's video, check it out in the description below. Playlist will always be there, or if you just want to wait until the end of this video, it will be on your screen. You guys can check it out, or if you really want to, just subscribe. You will be notified when I have videos and when I go live on this channel with this show. So let's get into it. I am feeling okay today. My tooth is still a little bit messed up. I still am missing part of my filling, unfortunately. You know, it sucks eating only on one side. It gets kind of annoying after a while. So I cannot wait to go to the dentist this week. Hopefully by the time you're watching this, I have already filled the void in my tooth. So if you guys didn't watch yesterday's video, my tooth actually, one of the fillings that I had when I was younger, part of it actually came out a few days ago when I was eating. So unfortunately, that is the case. I'm glad that the whole thing didn't come out, because if it did, I would be in a very, very big, or I would be in a large amount of pain right now. So thankfully, it is not. There's still most of the filling is still in, but I still need to get it fixed so the rest of it doesn't come out, and then I do have some problems. So let's get into it. Let's talk about these topics. Let's hop right into this. First things first, we are on the Hollywood Reporter website. All the links to these things will be in the description below for you guys to check out on your own. Here we go. I mean, first things first, we all know the Joker origin story, or the film that was announced a few weeks ago with Martin Scorsese as the producer on the film. So an origin story for the Joker. Now, I did a video on eNsKy Productions discussing my thoughts on whether there should be an origin story for the Joker, and I don't think there should be. I don't think you need one. I think one of the amazing parts about the Joker is how mysterious he is as a character. That's what makes him so scary, because you really don't know anything about him. He's just so mysterious. He's so crazy and so wild, but he's fun. So I really don't think there needs to be a backstory. You don't need a backstory for everything. You really don't. Some of these characters just need to stay the way that they are. Similar to, say, going to the Star Wars universe, I really don't see that you need a Yoda origin story. There's just too much there. There's been way too many years of way too many years that Yoda was alive, so you don't really need that story. And same thing with the Joker. Not obviously that he was alive for 600 years, but more so that his appeal is that he is so mysterious, and that's what one of the reasons why I love Heath Ledger's Joker so much is that some of my favorite scenes in that is when he's actually talking to his victims about, want to know how I got these scars. That's one of my favorite things, you know, when he actually gives his obviously a lie to how he got the scars. You know, one is when he's talking to Rachel, it's about his wife, and then when he's talking to the gangster in his home, when he comes out of the body bag, he actually says it's his father. So obviously multiple things, but that's what makes the Joker great, is that he has these moments of, like, that's what makes him so scary as a person, because he is so wild. Some men just want to watch the world burn. Another Dark Knight quote, the man doesn't want fame, he doesn't want fortune, he just wants to watch the world burn. And that's exactly what it's like a dog, you know. He's just a wild, crazy dog chasing after a mailman, you know. That's how he interprets life, and that's how he is. And I just don't think you need an origin story. That's not what this topic is about. Let me know what you guys think. Should there be an origin story for the Joker? I personally don't. But obviously, legendary filmmaker Martin Scorsese has been announced as the producer for this film in the DC world. It will not be in the DC Extended Universe. So that is the reason why Jared Leto's Joker will not be in this. That's why they're not bringing Jared Leto in. It has nothing to do with Jared Leto. It has more to do with they want to make a standalone film for the Joker. So hopefully, what Warner Brothers is hoping is that the name Martin Scorsese will bring in someone like Leo DiCaprio to become the Joker. Now, my personal thoughts on this specific topic is that I don't get how you can have Leo DiCaprio, who is obviously one of the best actors of our time, if not the best actor of our time. I love Leonardo DiCaprio. One of my favorite movies of him is Wolf of Wall Street. He is absolutely amazing in that film. And Great Gatsby, he is amazing in that one as well. He's in every movie that he's pretty much been in, he has done phenomenally. And he's one of my favorite actors, and I would love to see him portray the Joker. But my problem here is, I don't think the movie's going to be bad. It's just I really think that there's just no reason for it, especially since you want to make an origin story, and yet Leo DiCaprio is like easily in his late 40s or early 40s. Let me look up how old Leo is. I want to know. We're taking a little break here. I want to know how old Leo DiCaprio is. My dude Leo, how old are you? Let me see. He's age 42. So yeah, I said he was in his 40s. How can you have an origin story with a man who's 42? I don't get how that works. I don't get how you want Leo as the Joker if you want to build an origin story for him. That just doesn't make sense to me. I don't get how you announce that you're going to do this, and then clearly you want someone who doesn't fit that origins role. Obviously, if you want an origin story, you would go with a younger actor, someone similar to Jared Leto. I just don't get where this is coming from. I don't get this casting, and obviously the director for this movie will be the director of the things like The Hangover and War Dogs, which are both great films. Todd Phillips is the director of this movie. But it's hard for me to see an origin story with Leo DiCaprio in it. He's just too old. He's too old. Not that he wouldn't be a great Joker. I think he would be. I think he has the acting chops to pull off the Joker. I mean, Heath Ledger, everyone said, oh, he would never make a good Joker, and yet he's still in pop culture today as the best Joker. And that movie came out in 2008. So almost 10 years since that movie's been out, and yet Heath Ledger is still said to be the best portrayal of the Joker. Maybe versus Mark Hamill, not so much. I think Mark Hamill's voice is the Joker. He is phenomenal as it, but a live-action movie, Heath Ledger steals the show every time. I always say The Dark Knight should have been called The Joker Show featuring Batman, because Heath Ledger was the main part of that movie. And people said that before, before The Dark Knight with the casting of Heath Ledger. It's like, you can't have someone like that. He would not be a good Joker. You need someone that was similar to what Jack Nicholson was, who was a very outgoing, very talk like this. That's what the Joker is. And Heath Ledger didn't really have that. He was more of a traditional actor. He did things like A Knight's Tale and The Patriot and things like that. So we didn't really see him as a Joker. And yet he clearly had the acting chops to pull something like that off, and so does DiCaprio. And I think, obviously, DiCaprio was also named. He was in the running to be Anakin Skywalker when they did the prequels, but unfortunately, he turned down the role and did not want to be a part of that. So, obviously, this isn't confirmed that he's going to be the next Joker, but this is who they want to be the next Joker. In my personal opinion, I just don't think you can do it. I just don't think you can make an origin story with a guy who is 42 years old. It's like having an origin story with Ben Affleck as Batman. You can't do it. You can't do a Ben Affleck Batman origin story when Ben Affleck is like easily. I want to look up how old Sir Ben Affleck is because I need to know. I need to know how old he is. He's 45. So there's just no way you can have all of the, you can't have an origin story for these people. You can't do it. You just cannot do it. It's my personal opinions on the matter. Am I excited to see an origin story? I think it could work. Obviously, Martin Scorsese has the chops to be he's an amazing film, maker. He's obviously going to produce this movie to amazing things. It's just, in the DC world, it's tough for me to have two Jokers, but also have an origin story with an older actor. I can't see it. If you're going to do the origin story, do it right. That's my personal opinion. If you're going to do it, and it could be that they want to go the Killing Joke route, which I don't get. I don't get why you would do that when there's already a film out that was an animated film which did very well, The Killing Joke. Let that be. Don't do that. If you haven't seen The Killing Joke, check it out. It's a good animated series. I don't know about the Blu-ray. People were saying the Blu-ray added a lot to it, which I didn't really. I saw The Killing Joke a few years ago, so I don't know too much about the Blu-ray release, but I definitely think if they're gonna follow that same plot, you know, I don't think you've developed Batman enough to do that. And who's going to be Batman in this standalone, you know, Joker movie? Because clearly it won't be Ben Affleck because it's not in the DCEU. If it's in the DCEU, Ben Affleck and Jared Leto would be the Joker and Batman. So it's like up in the air. Which is it? You know what? Like, we need to know these things. And if you're going to announce these films, you got to start giving us a little bit of how this is going to go down. Not just, oh, this is the director, this is the producer, this is the premise, a Joker Origins film, and then you cast a 42-year-old man. Just doesn't make sense. So moving on, we're going to move on to Jared Leto as a Joker, and this is a bigger topic for me to discuss because I personally am in the minority when I can say that Jared Leto has potential to be the best Joker. And I know a lot of people will say, that laugh is not the Joker, but what we saw in Suicide Squad, I thought he stood out. I thought he was a great part of Suicide Squad, but he did not get the time that he deserved. If you're going to promote a movie like Suicide Squad with the Joker so heavily in your promotion, and then only have him in like 6 scenes, like, you can't do it. You like, it doesn't make sense. So let's talk about Jared Leto as the Joker. Is he out as the Joker? No, he is not. He has already confirmed that he will be in the Harley Quinn Joker movie that will be in the DCEU. So that's a thing. I mean, yeah, all right. I guess that's kind of cool. I don't know. I really have no interest in that movie. I just don't get why we're releasing so many villain movies without actually making the movies about the heroes first. You know, that was one of my biggest quarrels, and I mentioned this on Monday's video with Suicide Squad, is that you developed all of these, or you didn't even develop these characters. You just introduced us to 4 Batman characters without actually having a Batman origin story or a Batman solo film. You had Batman and Batman vs Superman, but he was the kind of supporting role rather than it was Superman's movie. Like, it was very much Superman's movie. If you haven't seen it, it's Man of Steel 2. It's just with Batman in it. So, like, you didn't really develop Ben Affleck's Batman. Yeah, you added a little bit of, oh, here's the Robin suit. Yeah, we're throwing it back to when he killed Jason Todd. You know. But you didn't develop any of the characters. You didn't develop Batman as a character. You didn't give him the chance that he deserved to be that. And I think that's one of the DCEU's biggest falters, is the order that these movies are coming out in. It's like, how can you have, you know, Man of Steel come out? Okay, that's a great start. All right, cool. Man of Steel. We see Superman. I like it. I love Henry Cavill as Superman. Cool. That's a good movie. Then you don't have a film for like almost, what, 6 years? Oh, no, it wasn't 6 years. It was more like four or five, I think. Batman vs. Superman came out in, what, 2015? 2013? No, I think it was 2000. It went into production 2013, and when it was released in 2015, I think it was released that in March. So 2015. So that's almost 5 years since Man of Steel. I believe Man of Steel came out in 2010. So it's almost 5 years, you know, between films. When the MCU's chopping out movies like it's nothing, they're already in the 20s almost. It's going to be 20 at the end of this year. So, like, how can you have that as a DCEU fan? And then you have a sequel to Man of Steel when Man of Steel was supposed to start the DCEU. You haven't introduced any characters into the DCEU other than Superman. So, like, you're bringing in, oh, Batman versus Superman. We all know Batman and Superman, right? We all know those characters. And yet in Batman versus Superman, you basically have a Superman film that features Batman sometimes. That's basically what the movie comes down to. So then you have also Wonder Woman thrown in there for no goddamn reason, which you did not develop her story, and a lot of people who don't know Wonder Woman will be like, who the fuck is this chick? Because they don't say Wonder Woman in the movie at all. So it's like, clearly for anyone who knows Wonder Woman, it's like, oh yeah, that's Wonder Woman. Yeah, it's cool. I mean, that's awesome. But like, why? Like, why is she there? So, and then you introduce the Justice League in kind of the superhuman, or the superhuman thesis, or whatever, metahuman thesis, excuse me. And so you have the Flash, you had Aquaman, you had Cyborg, and you had Wonder Woman as well as in there. So you introduce all these characters, and then it's just like, oh, we're gonna do Suicide Squad next. Okay, but you have 4 Batman villains in the Suicide Squad, and yet you haven't even done a Batman solo film. So people will know the Joker, but they won't know any other. No one will know Deadshot. Killer Croc, I mean, maybe Killer Croc, but like Harley Quinn, obviously she's in pop culture, so maybe they'll know it's a Batman, you know, villain. But like, you haven't developed these heroes yet, and that's one of the biggest problems with the DCEU. And now they're announcing all of these Joker movies, and they're saying that, oh, we're going to have a Joker Batman that's separate from the DCEU, but we're also going to release things in the DCEU with the Joker Harley Quinn movie and then the Batman solo movie. So it's like very confusing on which is it. Are we going to have a DCEU Joker? I just don't think you need all of these different versions of these characters. You want to have one, and that's what the MCU does so well. If you don't know what the MCU is, it's the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And, you know, Captain America, Iron Man, all those guys. So if you don't know those movies, check them out. They're really good. But the thing that makes them so amazing is that they introduce these characters. They give them backstories. Some of these characters were introduced in other people's films. So, like, trying to think of one before that. I think obviously Captain America, you know, Tony Stark's father, Howard Stark, is in Captain America First Avenger, so you get to see these characters, you know, and obviously they have the big team fights with Avengers and Avengers 2, so you get to see and introduce all of these new characters in their solar films, but they come before the big team fights, and it doesn't make sense how the DCEU just released Suicide Squad and then didn't give Jared Leto the chance to be the Joker. He's in only like 6 scenes in the whole movie, and the Harley Quinn stuff with Jared Leto's Joker is so inaccurate to what what the Joker and Harley Quinn is. Harley Quinn is not an equal to the Joker ever. That's not a thing. So like I don't get why that was a thing. You know, Amanda Waller says, "Oh, she's worse than the Joker." No, she's not, and that's a problem. Like the Joker is horrible. Like he is a terrible villain. Well, not terrible as in like he's boring, but like he's terrible meaning his mind. Like he is actually fucked up as a person. So like that's why I just don't think you need the Joker films now. I think you need to develop your DCEU first before you do all these standalone movies and just say confuse the hell out of all your fans. Like because I think one of the biggest things that DCEU is doing right now is that they just don't get that they're confusing everyone. They're saying we're doing this, and this. And yet none of those movies are in production, but we're saying that this is happening. So now everyone's all confused, like, oh, is Batman part of the DCU still? Like, is Ben Affleck still Batman? Is Jared Leto still the Joker? You know, people are saying Leo's going to be the Joker. They're doing an origin story for the Joker, but they're also doing a Harley Quinn Joker. It's just confusing even talking about it. So is Jared Leto out as the Joker? I fucking hope not. And clearly he's not, because he's going to be the Joker in the Harley Quinn movie and probably in Gotham Sirens. So I think this is going to be, you know, kind of one of those things where you're going to have multiple versions of these characters. So you're going to see a Leo DiCaprio Joker in Martin Scorsese's standalone Joker movie. And then you're also going to see Jared Leto in the Harley Quinn movie. So it's all very confusing. I'm upset about it. It makes me sad. I'm just hoping the Batman movie's good, man. Please, for the love of God, keep Ben Affleck as Batman. He is amazing Batman. Please, please, please. Maybe if you want to do it right, if you want to do an origin story Batman and cast someone younger that kind of looks like Ben Affleck, and then have Ben Affleck become, you know, what he is, what we saw in Batman vs Superman, what we're going to see in Justice League, that's perfectly fine with me. I'm cool with that. Do that. But please don't kick Ben Affleck out and don't kick Jared Leto out as the Joker. Give them chances to prove themselves. They're both good actors. Let them prove themselves. Please, 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 please. You had such a success with Wonder Woman. Don't fuck it up with Justice League. Continue the ball rolling. Follow in your competitors' footsteps. The MCU is doing it much better than you. So that's going to wrap up today's show. Thank you guys so much for watching. A little short one today, but I felt like I just needed to get these movies out, get these topics out. We're going to do some live, I think, tomorrow. We're going to do tomorrow's video live. I think so. I think we're going to do it live, guys. We're just going to talk about these things on YouTube, on Twitch, whatever, man. I'm just excited to be back, to be recording videos again. I want to save the odd file stuff for the actual shows. Well, obviously this is the show, but I want to save the odd file for the live shows, because it's a little bit more funny when I get to talk about these guys with these funny news stories and things like that. This show is basically going to be a podcast for you guys. If you want to check out the podcast, it will be featured on eNsKy Productions website, and if you want to podcast it there, be sure to do so. You don't need to watch if you got things to study. Obviously, school is back in session. If you want to study and have this on the background, you guys can check it out in the description below, eNsKyesports.org/eNsKy Productions. That's where you guys will find it. And yeah, so thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe for all of the new content and for when I go live. There you go. Perfect. Leave a like if you enjoyed. I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video. Peace.